the warmth below. The alley was narrow and quiet, pressed behind a blacksmith's yard where no one looked twice. That's where Simon and Beatrice lived with their two boys, Edwin and Cole. It wasn't much, but it had kept them alive. While the city around them darkened, while carts rolled by with bodies piled in rows, the little family in the alley endured. Simon worked the forge. Beatrice patched seams for coins when she could. The boys stayed close, never wandered, and somehow they were spared. Others whispered about rats and bad air, about God's punishment and infected breath, but their alley had no food to steal, no warmth to share, and so no rats came. The blacksmith's fire boiled the sickness before it could settle. Simon always smelled like smoke. The boys always came home with soot on their arms. Beatrice wiped their faces with damp rags and kept them small, kept them quiet. They didn't ask why it worked. They just never changed a thing. But as more people died, more work came. With the other tradesmen sick or gone, Simon brought home better pay. Not riches, but enough. They started eating more. Better bread, cooked meat, fruit. Simon began bringing food back instead of scouring the market stalls or picking scraps from waste carts. For the first time in months, the boys had full stomachs. Beatrice smiled in the mornings. Even the air in the alley seemed lighter. Then came the first rat. It scratched under the plank floor, then another in the wall. One on the windowsill, twitching, watching. They were small at first, quiet. Simon caught one by hand and threw it into the fire. The boys laughed. Then came more. Beatrice started sleeping with the boys pulled tight to her chest, and Simon, worried but proud, decided it was time to move them. The loft was just 2 alleys over, small, dry, raised above the stone. The rats couldn't climb, he said, and the boys deserved more than a floor soaked with ash. But the loft didn't share the heat of the forge, and the food still smelled sweet, and the rats still came. They caught 3 in a single night. The traps barely snapped fast enough, and then one morning Edwin didn't get up. His skin pale, his breathing thin. Cole coughed through the night, teeth chattering, and when Beatrice washed his face, her hands trembled. Simon sat on the steps outside the loft until the sun dipped behind the chimney stacks. They all knew. The sores came next. The fever, the slow, heavy quiet that filled every breath. Beatrice stopped cooking. Simon stopped shaving. The boys clung to their blankets and whimpered in their sleep. There was no more hope. No doctors, just the sound of scratching in the walls, and the cold air that never touched the alley. They had escaped the plague for months. It was the heat, the hunger, the dust and smoke. They had been invisible to death, until they stepped out of the fire and let the warmth go.